HadesOmega here. This is the kind of trip AAR for HadesOmega Dirt Bike Adventure 2021. Okay. We didn't really have a HadesOmega Dirt Bike Adventure 2020. Okay. We did some dirt biking, but I did the Transamerica Trail. That's what I did. I finished the Transamerica Trail in 2020. So that was my big ride. So I figure I started off the year, you know, pandemic 2021 with a dirt bike trip. Okay, so I've been wanting to do a dirt bike trip because we didn't do one last year. So here we are. We're in Lovell Canyon in I think Spring Mountain, Nevada. Okay, it's very close to Las Vegas. Okay, basically what I've done is a big loop around the kind of Las Vegas Mojave area. Okay. So the first day of dirt biking, we went to Mojave. We went to Afton Canyon and we went to ride the Mojave Road. Okay. And that was the first day. Check that AAR out if you want more details. But we rode through the canyon. We rode the Reivew through the canyon. And then we turned around and we came back and we actually ran out of power. That was the only time we had to do water crossings, by the way. That Afton Canyon, crikey's man, it sucked, dude. Yeah, that's so. HadesOmega hates having wet feet, so that's when I had the wet feet. I had wet feet for a few days because my boots were so wet. Yeah, I need to get some waterproof boots, I guess. All right, and then the second day we went to Basin Road in Rasor OHV. Okay, and then we rode the KLX. And we rode it to the park, the Mojave National Preserve boundary on the Mojave Road. Okay. I think that was the longest section that we did the whole trip. Okay, it was 50 miles there and back. Okay. And it was a good chunk of the Mojave Road. In my opinion, it was probably the most. Nah, you know what? It was all right. I think it was okay. I think the canyon was more scenic, honestly. But yeah, we got to ride through some sand dunes and stuff. And the KLX does great riding on little sand dunes, but not big dunes. Okay. And then yeah, so when we got to the park boundary, we came back, and then I put the bike back on a trailer. And then that day, I drove down to the next exit to Rasor Road in Rasor OHV. Okay. And then I drove down like 3 miles, I think, down a dirt road. And don't drive all the way because there's just a lot of sand, okay? Unless you got a vehicle that's pretty good at driving through sand. My Previa is 2-wheel drive, so I try not to drive it in any sand, okay? But I kind of had to a lot on this trip, okay? And then we rode the Reivew. We did a double battery pack ride, okay? Basically, I put an extra battery pack in my backpack. Rode into the Mojave Preserve. Okay, we weren't too far. We rode back to where we stopped with the KLX. Okay, and then we rode as much of the Mojave Road as we could until the battery pack was almost out of juice and we turned around. Okay, and then what am I gonna say? That was a great ride. You get to ride through some dune sand a little bit. And then we rode through a dry lake, okay? And then through a lot of washboard stuff, man. The washboard stuff, I did not like at all, dude. Washboard and sand whoops, sand whoops, okay, I can probably go get with that, but washboards, it just does this, and it shakes your hands up. I don't like it. It's probably maybe if I set the suspension up better on the Reivew, it would do better, okay? But the goal was to get to Kell Baker Road, okay, and we didn't make it. We were shy 1 mile, literally. I mean, literally, I could have probably just drove down Kell Baker Road to the Mojave Road, dumped the bike off, and then drove down a mile, and then we would have finished the whole thing. But I was like, nah, that's okay. And then the rest of the Mojave Road, I did out a DR650 already, so I didn't. I've already done it, so there's no point really going any further. Honestly, a dual sport would be the way to go to do the Mojave Road. Okay, but make sure it's good at riding in sand. The DR650 is okay in sand, okay, but you can't really play in the sand. You kind of have to just blaze through it. That's what I'm gonna say, okay. Now, I think out of all the Mojave Road sections that we did just in this trip, I think I liked Afton Canyon the best. I think it was the most scenic. And we got to play in the slot canyons and stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Okay, and then after that, I headed into Death Valley. I was thinking of doing some rides in Death Valley, but I didn't really get into it. You know, we didn't have enough time. The plan was actually to stop by Dumont Dunes and ride the dunes, and I didn't do that either. So what I wound up doing was driving through Death Valley one day. Okay, it took the whole day to get through freaking Death Valley. Yeah, it took a whole freaking day to get through Death Valley, and then I camped at Beatty. Okay, and then the next day we passed by Amargosa Valley, and near Amargosa Valley was Amargosa Big Dunes. Okay, and it turns out it's free to go ride there. You don't have to pay any kind of fee. Dumont Dunes, you have to pay a fee. I'd have to say the Big Dunes versus Dumont Dunes. I think the Dumont Dunes are I think it's about the same. It's almost the same. Honestly, I think it's about the same size. You know, the dunes are about the same size, but I think Dumont Dunes, like square foot wise, you know, it's got more area. Okay, there's areas with like no dunes. You know, that's what I'm gonna say. But you can ride all around the dunes too. There's plenty of, you know, desert to ride in. Okay, is what I'm gonna say. You can ride anywhere you want. Okay, and that's where we had a whole bunch of problems. These bikes are not good at riding in the dunes. I find that out. Okay, you need a way more powerful bike and maybe like a sand paddle tire to ride in the dunes. But I was able to carve up some of the dunes pretty good. KLX did okay. KLX got really hot. It was just wide open throttle paddling through the dunes, and it just overheats the bike, you know. And this is only air cooled, so. And then it was the same story with the Lightbee. You know, the Lightbee was just paddling through the sand. We couldn't get any traction, you know, and then just we're not moving very fast, and it heats up the motor and the controller, you know. And then like yeah, when the wheel gets stuck in the sand, it creates a lot of stress on the drivetrain, and eventually we snapped the primary drive belt. So if you're going to be riding dunes with your Lightbee, definitely get a chain kit for it, for the primary drive. I don't think we're going to take the Lightbee on the dunes anymore. Okay, could it do it? Yes, it could. Could it do big dunes? Maybe, you know, but not for very long. I would ride it on small dunes, just nothing higher than like a 10-foot dune is what I'm gonna say. Okay, I wouldn't go higher than do a 10-foot dune because it just doesn't have, you know, the traction and it's got plenty of power to get up there, but yeah, it's just not a very good dune bike. It overheats, you know. The cooling's not good enough, and it was really cold too. It was like 50 degrees still, and it still overheats. So on a warm day, it'll overheat even faster. So yeah. Both bikes not so good in the dunes. The KLX is a little bit better, you know, I felt. Yeah, and well, I found out there was some really soft sand there. And then the next day we headed to Lovell Canyon. All right, we're here in Lovell Canyon now, and so Lightbee's broken, so I decided to take the KLX instead. Okay, and you could do that. It's you can ride OHVs around this area right here. It's all BLM land, I think. And yeah, so we rode to Red Rock Canyon from Lovell Canyon. Okay, I did that in LAB2V 2 years ago in 2018. and it was great on the KLX. It was a lot easier than riding the DR650 through the canyon, that's for sure. It did great. However, I frayed the clutch cable on the way back. I was starting to notice, hey, the clutch I can't disengage the clutch anymore. I feel like I need to adjust the clutch. And then I looked at it, oh, the cable's frayed. Like, well, it's a good thing it didn't break. So yeah, when I got back to camp, I noticed the cable was frayed. So, because I was trying to do pivot turns, and I was like, man, I can't get the clutch to disengage, man. It would just kind of stall all the time. So yeah, pivot turns a lot easier on the Light B. I think the Light B would have been a lot of fun here. When the next chance I get, I'm going to take it back here and do it. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to do was ride Coliseum Road and go to Coliseum Mine. That's near the Ivanpah solar generator. You ride right next to it, and then you go up this really steep, rocky trail. And then you can go down this mine, and it spirals down, you know. But I broke both bikes. Both bikes are, that's it, okay? So that was the next thing to do. And then there was a Joan Dry Lake. That was another kind of like dirt place. There's plenty of places to ride out here, man. Yeah, we were gonna go to Joan Dry Lake and camp there and ride down the lake bed and see how fast we can go, you know, that kind of thing. But I kind of already did that during the Soda Lake and in Mojave. So, and that was supposed to be kind of the end of the trip right there, okay? So I kind of missed 2 opportunities to ride, but that's okay. We'll come back and we'll take the Light B again, okay? I think both bikes did great. I had a whole lot of fun. So that's my trip AAR, okay? I broke both bikes. I'm glad I brought both bikes because I broke both of them. That's what I'm gonna say. And I had to get rescued one time, so that kind of, it's a good thing there was people out on the dunes that, you know, they had to put it on the pickup truck and they pulled me out with a side-by-side. But yeah, so good people, you know, it's good to ride with other people. That's all I say. All right, but yeah, it's a shame that the Light B broke the belt. So I think for the Light B, I'm just gonna put the belt back on. Honestly, I think if you're gonna ride dunes, if you're gonna ride anything that puts a lot of stress on the drivetrain, then yeah, I would definitely get a chain drive. But I think for 90% of the stuff that HadesOmega does, besides dunes, the Light B will be fine. Okay, just don't. I pushed it to the limit, is what I'm gonna say. Okay, and I was having a good time too. It was doing pretty good on dunes, and then it snapped the belt. I was like, oh, let's go up that dune, and then snap. There that goes. And it was a bitch trying to get it out of those dunes. Okay, but yeah, so that's the end of our trip. It's pretty much been on the road for about a week, and I've had a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun coming out here in the Mojave in the desert. You know, the desert is not very close to where HadesOmega lives, so I had a whole lot of fun. The desert's a different kind of riding, is what I'm going to say. Does the electric bike do good in the desert? Yes and no. It'll chomp up that desert, no problem, but the sand, riding through like loose stuff, it eats up a lot of power, you know. You're not going to get that good a range with it. And with the gas bike, you'll get a much better range, dude. I get almost double, maybe probably triple the mileage out of the KLX versus the Light B. So until there's some kind of breakthrough battery technology where I can like triple the size of the battery, then I would say, yeah, you could probably ride your electric bike through the desert, you know. But, you know, it took 2 battery packs just to get me to, you know, point A to point B one day, okay? So that's what I'm going to say. There were a couple of rides I wanted to do in Death Valley, but didn't get to it, okay? I wanted to try riding through the racetrack or Titus Canyon, but for Titus Canyon, it's one way, so you can't, I would need somebody to wait for me on the other end and pick me up. That's what I think. If I had 2 battery packs and if somebody wants to wait for me at the other end of Titus Canyon, like, let me know. I want to ride my Light B through Titus Canyon and the racetrack. The racetrack, I don't even think with 2 battery packs you wouldn't make it. I think you can make it to TKL Junction. That's about it. So that was my plan. I thought I was going to make it to the racetrack, but I was like, no, I don't think we're going to make it. It's only like 20 miles of range in the dirt, dude. But you can make it to TKL Junction and back, and I think that's what I was going to try to do, but I didn't even make it to Ubehebe Crater, so, okay. but there's plenty of places. I wanted to ride to Hole in the Wall in Death Valley, and I wanted to ride the 20 Mule Canyon. Would have been fun too. You could really rip through that. You could ride like an electric bike through that if you wanted to, you know. All right, so yeah, I had a lot of fun. That's HadesOmega Mojave or Desert Dirt Bike Adventure 2021. I don't know if we're gonna have another one this year, but yeah, I had a whole lot of fun. Bikes just, you know, especially the dirt bike just sits in my garage all the time, and I feel bad for it, you know. Got to take it out more often, but it did great. I just changed the fork seals on it too, so I still think it's a little too stiff in the front, but I definitely need a stiffer rear shock on the KLX. Okay, it's just too bouncy, and I think it needs to be rebuilt. So that's probably one thing we'll work on. Other than that, it's a great bike. And the Light Bee, if you want to do some desert riding in it, we got to put a chain kit on it, man. At least with the chain kit, if you break the chain, you can pretty easily put a new chain back on by just breaking the link. Okay. The belt, that's a no. You can't do it. What else? The float seat, that Lunicycle float seat, that thing works great in the dirt. I highly recommend that if you're going to be dirt biking. It makes a great dirt bike seat because it gives your knees something to grab. You know, when you're dirt bike, when you're standing, you can steer with your knees. I really like that seat. Okay, it's definitely an improvement over the stock seat for dirt biking. On the street, I still feel it's not comfortable enough, but it's a little more comfortable. Yeah, that's all I can say. I broke my fender too when they pulled me out of the dunes, so that's okay. The fender's already pretty busted up. I'm just gonna get a new one. I'm pretty happy with that fender, and I think we're gonna go change the new. We're gonna change the fork finally. I'm still running the stock fork on this. I bought another RST fork. We're gonna put that one on this bike. It's all black RST killer fork. Same fork, you know. It's just all black, you know. So it'll be more murdered out. That's what I want to say. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't like really destroy any of the bikes. It's just little things broke on. Well, the chain is the belt. You know, you can't do anything with the broken belt. You know, if I could go to Las Vegas and get a new belt, you know, and then change it overnight, I would, you know. But I can't do it. So it's just not that easy to get Surron parts. That's what I'm gonna say. You can't just go to auto parts store. Hey, I need a belt for a Surron. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay. All right. HadesOmega out. Check out my other AARs for more detailed info.